Faith wasn't new to online dating, but 90-Day Love Link promised something different. Unlike the generic swiping apps, this one claimed to foster deep connections for people ready to commit quickly. "It worked for me," her best friend Lily had said, showing off her engagement ring. With a sigh, Faith signed up, hoping to find someone who would value her for who she was, quirks and all. Scrolling through endless profiles, she barely gave most of them a second glance until she saw Loren, 33. His photo was unassuming. A lean man standing by a scenic lake, his face partially hidden under a baseball cap. His bio read, "Appreciating life's little details, looking for someone to share those moments." She hesitated before swiping right. Within minutes, a message popped up. "You have the most radiant smile. I can tell you're someone who notices the beauty in small things too." It was more thoughtful than the usual pickup lines she received. She replied, and the conversation flowed easily. Loren seemed intelligent, kind, and genuinely interested in her life as an art teacher. Their chats became daily. Yet, amid their exchanges about books and travel, Loren's comments about her feet began to surface. At first, they seemed playful. "Your beach photo is stunning. Cute toes, too." Faith laughed it off, replying, "Never had anyone compliment those before." "You should. They're beautiful. I can tell a lot about a person from their feet." Faith wasn't sure what to make of that, but she let it slide. After all, everyone had their quirks. Loren was charming in every other way, so when he asked to meet in person, she agreed. They met at a cozy bistro in Faith's neighborhood. Loren was punctual, arriving 10 minutes early and greeting her with a bouquet of sunflowers. "I wanted to bring something bright, like you," he said, his voice soft but earnest. Faith smiled, feeling her initial nerves dissipate. Loren seemed genuine, if a bit shy. They talked easily over dinner, discussing her art projects and his work as a freelance illustrator. But then came the shift. Loren's gaze kept drifting downward, lingering at her feet under the table. Faith tried to ignore it, but when he commented, "Those sandals really suit you," her discomfort grew. "Oh, thanks," she said lightly, hoping to change the subject. But Loren didn't let it drop. "Your toes have such a graceful shape. Do you get pedicures often?" Faith's smile faltered. Sometimes." "Fascinating," he murmured, almost to himself. The rest of the evening passed with a strange tension. Loren was polite, even sweet, but his fixation on her feet overshadowed everything else. When he insisted on walking her to her car, she felt uneasy but didn't want to be rude. As she unlocked her door, Loren hesitated. "Faith," he said, his voice almost pleading. "Can I see them? Just once." Faith stared at him, her heart pounding. "See what?" She got into her car without answering, driving off as quickly as she could. Faith thought that would be the end of it. She told herself Loren was just a little eccentric, and she didn't owe him any explanations. But the messages started the next morning. "I had such a great time last night," the first one read. "I feel like we really connected." When she didn't reply, he sent another. And another. "Please don't ignore me. I need to talk to you." Faith blocked his number, hoping he'd move on. Instead, he found her on social media. Loren began liking old photos, commenting things like, "Such elegant feet," and "Your toes look so soft in this picture." Disturbed, Faith set her profiles to private. But the next day, a package arrived on her doorstep. Inside was a pair of sandals in her exact size, along with a handwritten note. "For your perfect feet. I hope these bring you joy. Loren." Faith's stomach churned. She threw the box away, her hands shaking as she called Lily. "That's unsettling," Lily said, her voice uneasy. "Maybe you should report him." Faith did. The police took down her statement, but told her there wasn't much they could do unless Loren made a direct threat. "Just block him," the officer said. "He'll lose interest." Faith began noticing little things that made her question her sanity. The trash cans outside her apartment seemed to move. A shadow lingered near the stairwell late at night. She found smudges on her car window, as if someone had pressed their hands against it. One evening, while grading papers at her kitchen table, she heard a faint knock at her door. Peering through the peephole, she saw nothing, but taped to the outside was a single note. Terrified, Faith called the police again. This time, they sent an officer to patrol the area, but Loren was nowhere to be found. "Keep your doors locked," they advised, "and let us know if he shows up again." Faith couldn't sleep that night. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind made her jump. She started carrying pepper spray in her purse and stopped going out after dark. The final straw came a week later. Faith woke to find a message carved into the wooden railing of her balcony. Her blood ran cold. She packed a bag and drove to Lily's house, her hands trembling on the steering wheel. "You're staying here," Lily said firmly, her husband agreeing to install cameras around their property. But even with the added security, Faith couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Loren's obsession wasn't just a nuisance anymore, it was a threat. One rainy afternoon, Faith received a call from the police. They'd found Loren. He was in his apartment, surrounded by dozens of sketches, drawings of her, her feet, and cryptic notes professing his love. "Faith, you are my purpose. Without you, I have nothing. Now I'll always be with you, in the only way I can." Faith stared at the phone, her mind racing. Relief, guilt, and sorrow swirled within her. Loren's obsession had destroyed him, and it left her with scars she didn't know how to heal. Months passed, but Loren's shadow lingered. Faith moved to a new city, started therapy, and tried to rebuild her life. Yet she couldn't shake the memories, the sandals, the notes, the haunting look in his eyes that night at her car. Every so often, she'd glance at her feet, a chill running down her spine as she remembered his words. "They're a map of your soul,